We'll be going out soon. Won't take long on this live, but still wanted to show up. I don't have my headsets with me. It's right here. Let's put on the headset so the sound is better, hopefully. Oh, lemon ginger tea. Why does it taste so weird? So let me just say that I wasn't feeling this live. Actually, I've been feeling very drained by TikTok. I've been feeling very drained to a point where I'm unable to do other camera times or able to digest or take in content, because when I'm here I really listen. When I'm here I may teach, but I'm also looking to learn, and I also learn a lot of things from TikTok. I get to see people who think differently from me, and even if I'm having a conversation, I get to reflect and see how to grow. So it takes out a lot from me, because naturally and in person I am not very good with conversation. I am not that good with conversation. So not that I'm not good, I find most conversations pointless. So when I actually engage, I'm in it, like really in it. Now I don't know if I've got headsets, so let me, I want to make sure the headset is connected. Hold on. I've been wearing headsets without connecting them. That's what I just found out. So like I said, I've been finding the conversations very tiring. Very, very tiring. And the other thing I realized, even though I learn, I've got to see that most people have conversations as entertainment. And I don't focus on why other people do it. Everybody's to each their own. But I found that most conversations are very redundant. So it's a little bit tiring, like I said. Now, I'll be going out in a bit, but I'll still be on, I'll still do the live. So last week or the week before, I'm not sure if it's last week or the week before, I was having a conversation with some guys on TikTok, and I was the only lady on the panel. And they asked me a simple question, and in that moment I realized it was such a simple question, but I couldn't articulate myself. Like, in my mind, there are things I know, it's like that everybody should know this, but that's not reality. Like, learning to articulate yourself, especially when you're having a conversation with other people, I think is very important. It's vital. And sometimes we don't even see our shortcomings until we're in a situation where, like, oh, I don't know. Because normally when I'm talking, I don't just speak to close up space. I love space because that's the time you get to think and reflect. When I answer, I love to have either given thought to the thing or understand the thing already. So that being said, someone asked me a question, and the question they asked me is, no, I made a comment, and I was the only lady on the panel. I made a comment, and the comment I made was, I don't like dumb people. I don't like talking to dumb people because I prefer to be around very responsible, structured people with some principles. Do stupid stuff with them, because even if you do stupid stuff with them, it's like, at least there is someone there, you know? You both have something to protect and all that good stuff. When I say something to protect, I mean that you can have silly conversations with people who are driven, who are, you know, not just anyhow. So that being said, the person asked me, give me an example of what do you mean when you say you don't like hanging around dumb and stupid people. And I couldn't answer that question. I really couldn't answer that question because I've never articulated, and it took me today. I was on the live with Yanti. She cracks me up, and she's ruthless, crazy. And You just give her a problem, she takes the phone call and she starts yelling at people. She's called the White House. She calls, I like the picture behind you. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate that. Thank you. So what happened here was, today, in today's call with Yanti, I had the answer I couldn't articulate. It's so simple, stupid simple. I had the answer of the question that the person asked, or the panel that I was on, I think a week or two ago. I didn't have live examples. And when you're talking to brand new people, their perception and your perception are so different. So sometimes even if you give reasons, in their mind, they haven't walked the distance to even capture what you're saying. So I normally just keep quiet. So in Yanti's life today, someone called. There's a lady who she's her sister has a child with a husband who they're divorcing with. And the sister gave the number to Yanti to call the man and shout at him. Yanti shouts at everybody. Even the State House, she calls and shouts at the State House. And it was live on TikTok today. So, oh my gosh, thank you for the gift. So, Yanti called the man. Now, I'm going to say where the conversation is coming from. What I said, where the conversation is coming from. Yanti calls the man. And Yanti is cray-cray. She insults, she's like, cray-cray. And then she's about to go off this man. Because the man took the child from the mother and is refusing to give the child back. And then she's ready to go off, take the child back, whatever. And then she calls the man, and the man starts explaining, man, this man gave point to point to point on why he hasn't taken the kids back. And in everything he was saying, everything was so valid. Yanti is cray-cray, but Yanti couldn't even, like we also sensing what he was saying. There was 21,000 viewers, and we could see how everything he was saying made sense. And now we could see the people who asked Yanti and asked the viewers to shout out the guy. We're looking and we're saying this guy is actually very responsible. If you actually look the story, very responsible. Now I got to see someone who's just crazy. She goes off, and she kept quiet, and she wasn't fighting just for fighting. She could see how the side we were calling from was irresponsible. And Yanti stayed 21 minutes listening to this man explain. The child had UTIs. The child sometimes wasn't going to school. The mother, just taking substances and stuff like that. Like, it was all over the show. And we could see reason and reason and reason. Yanti is crazy, but Yanti just kept quiet. And she was like, okay, I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from. And we didn't support the person who brought the story because they didn't say the negligence part. We could just see how irresponsible the other side is. Now, if you could listen to someone who reasons beyond the agenda, who reasons beyond who's complaining, and be able to hear both sides, and if someone is really in the wrong, like put on brakes and be like, no. We should be going off the person who asked us to go for this person. That reminded me of the thing I couldn't say the past two lives. It's like this person is crazy. It's entertaining. But the person is crazy, but at the core of their back, they've got principles. Thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you. Oh my God, the person has got principles. Yanti, principles. She's got responsibility. Being responsible. Very important. Accountability. And in spite us enjoying the drama, we saw it wasn't necessary. Actually, she was just like, yep, okay, you're right. Many things came out with this woman. And for me as a person and as a human being, I don't believe in supporting just because of the gender. I support what makes sense. Principles and responsibility. I go with that. And I would rather listen to that person like being crazy, but I know that they believe in responsibilities. They believe in getting their house in order. They know what's right from wrong. So even if I was with that person and I'm talking crap and they're lax on with me, they would be able to tell me. And I couldn't articulate this in the conversation I was hosting that conversation. So invite you to co-host. No, I don't want to co-host. So I was listening and it was life-giving, because there are things that maybe I really don't think to articulate on a personal level, because I think it should be common sense, but I realize common sense is not very common. And I'll be in groups with different people, and I'm like, I don't like dumb people. What I mean when I say I don't like dumb people is I don't want people who are always dealing with consequences, but they don't focus on the principle. They're trying to get certain results, but there is no principle that they're operating from, and it's just chaotic people who are just like, I don't want that in my life every day. So I really look at the principle someone is working from. Are they responsible? Are they accountable? I look at all those things, and then the things here you can deal with. So if there are people who are just like dramatic, irresponsible, always putting themselves in danger and whatever, and they just all over the show, they're yapping their mouth without logic, without reason, without consideration, I can't be with such people. That's why I said dumb. Because that auntie who called asking Yanti to shout at the other lady, I'm like, how do you even get the guts to call someone to start insulting the other parent when you're the ones who've got issues? Like, such people, I wouldn't want to be with them. Regardless of the gender, I wouldn't want to be with them. So there are people who support just because of their gender. I don't believe in that. I look at principles, responsibility, accountability, and then everything else. We can move around that, but I need to know, like, people have responsibility where they're operating from. So just watching that phone call, like, gave me the context of what I was trying to say in the conversation. And I remember the person who asked me this question was Echo Bounds. Well, live here on my live, and Echo Bounds asked me, he's like, so when you say you don't like stupid or people who do stupid and dumb stuff, what is dumb stuff? And I just realized what I may consider as dumb, some people don't even say it. Being irresponsible, like being reckless, having a kid who's getting UTI anyhow, the kid not going to school, just not being responsible, whatever aspect. And then Echo Bounds, I was just talking about you. God damn it. Hi. So I was listening to some dramatic stuff. TikTok has been making me feel drained, because I realize that as much as I enjoy listening and learning, I find that most of the conversations are very repetitive, and people have conversations just for, oh, thank you for the gift, Echo Bounds. People having conversation as entertainment, but there's no growth within them, and it's just, so that's tiring to be around. I am good. So today I was watching someone going crazy, being dramatic and insulting, and it was very entertaining for me. And I was just talking about when I was watching that live, when I was watching that live, it reminded me of a question you asked me, where you're like, I was like, I don't like being around stupid and dumb people. And you asked me, what is stupid? What is dumb? And to me, that was like, I couldn't articulate it when you asked me. I tried, but I don't think I could. And it took me watching this lady who called to shout out at a man because of a message she received that the man is taking the child and they're not taking the child back to the mother, and calling the man ready to go off him, like go nuclear off him. And the guy gave valid reasons. Like he was being big daddy. He was like being responsible, actually not letting the child go back. And the man was talking. Yanti is very talkative, man. And she kept quiet. She was just listening. And we all listening. We're like, oh my God. He was just handling business. He was a man, being responsible. Looking at the situation, it would actually be irresponsible of him to let the child go back to the mother. Looking at the situation that he was explaining. And man, I could see how this man, he's been needing someone just to hear him out, because he kept going for 21 minutes. He couldn't just stop talking. But everything he was saying, you can see the pain, you can see the hurt. It's like, oh man, God damn. And we realized that the person who we were with on the side who brought the story is actually the problem and the sister. They were the issue. So in spite it being dramatic, we got to sit in and see a man. We got in to see a person who has a spine, who's responsible, who's accountable. She's crazy, but she has the capacity to think and reflect. That's what I mean when I say we want to deal with people who are not dumb and stupid, but who go crazy. So even if you're going crazy, like, they can call you out on your shortcomings. You can call them on your shortcomings, and if you're wrong, they'll be able to say, hey, let's talk. I like such people. He's more responsible than the accuser. Yes, exactly. But most times you find people don't look at like the situation. They just side with someone. I'm incapable of doing that. I'm very incapable, because I will listen. And if you're very close and you're really just looking for support, and I see that there is a flaw, maybe I'll say nothing. But I appreciate it when people can see, even sometimes the accuser might be like on an issue. So just watching that, man, I felt sorry for this man and this 4-year-old. I felt sorry. He is very responsible. He's worried about the kids' school. He's looking into, they've got other issues, obviously. They've got other issues, not taken away. But the point is, he's coming from accountability and responsibility. He's thinking straight. And I respect that. Makes me think of the other live I went on today. I'm looking at the time. I have to pick up my daughter in... I have to pick up my daughter soon. Makes me think of another live I went on today, where, these TikTok streets, they expose me to different people. You have no idea. I went on a live, and this was like a man's conference. It had like 80 people watching. Man's conference like that. And I saw how this man, let me say something I liked about watching this guy. He looked like he's from a small town. But he's got leadership qualities. TikTok streets are crazy, they are. And something I respected about this man, he even blocked my comments. I'm a keyboard warrior. When I'm in the comments there, in other lives, I'm a keyboard warrior. I just say whatever comes to mind anyway. He blocked me, but let me say something I respect. He had order. And if you're acting out of order, he'll block your ass. Even if he blocked me, I respect it, because I love people who have structure. I really appreciate being around people who have got a spine, who you just don't walk anyhow. I like that. So I respected that. I was like, okay, I can deal with this. I can work with this. And I stayed and watched for why block you, because I'll explain why he blocked me. I'll explain. So there are people who only hear from an echo chamber perspective. They only hear from, like, you find women who are talking against men, and if you reason with men, you are a criminal, you are bad. And then you find men who speak against women. Everything, no, woman is a devil, single mother, what they say a lot. If you speak anything positive about a woman, you're a problem. I don't take sides. I follow logic. Hey, Amanda, thank you so much for the like. So when he was saying, I was like, okay, this makes sense. I hear you, because I'm also learning and I'm also hearing. Now, one thing I noticed, despite what he said, I stayed to listen, because regardless of who someone is and their flaws, you can learn from anyone. And sometimes you even see blind spots you had. He had a big hate and blame for women. The moment you've put your thing and you're blaming whether man or woman, you can't see the whole picture, because you're only seeing from a perspective. And the moment you take a perspective, there is no way you can learn or see your blindfolds, because every thought, everything you hear is just going to defend. You're looking for things to validate already the stance you've taken. So you can never see the other angle, meaning even if you improve, you have this and this and this, you have a blindfold. I don't believe in taking sides. I believe in looking at everything. I can only take a side for a husband. If someone is my husband, yes, there I can be flexible. We'll deal with each other in the bedroom. But when it comes to topics and whatever, other people, when I'm having a conversation, we can have a conversation. I can hear their thoughts and they can hear my thoughts, because I know what things are for. A husband is like it's like the army and the commander. There is no way you start having the soldiers fight the commander and they're fighting. It doesn't even make sense. It's a protector and a provider. Why would I start fighting a provider and a protector? Like, how? It doesn't even make sense. If the person is doing what they're supposed to do, it doesn't mean they'll be perfect. That being said, if someone has taken a stance to say women are bad or women are a problem, or someone has taken a stance to say men are bad or men are a problem, you only see the problematic side of the other. And whoever you coach, he was coaching men. It was like a men's conference. It was a lot of men. Actually, I video it. I screen recorded it. I have it. I screen recorded it. If you teach and you have spite, every pillow take is the best for level-headed. Exactly. So if you have spite for another gender and you're teaching with hate, the seed you have in you, you're sowing in other people, especially those who are just looking like maybe they're in a ditch, they're trying to learn, they're trying to be better. They'll take your spite with you. That's why they say, same man or woman, vice versa, but I'll use a woman. The words of a mother, the way she sees her husband, the way she sees the father of her children, if she uses her words to paint a picture with hate, the children take on that hate, most kids anyway. So understanding that you can have a dispute or disagreement with someone, that's between the two of you, that's not for your offsprings and what you bring. You have to have the wisdom and discernment to cut out as much as possible. I'm not saying I'm perfect, by the way, but when I sleep, I catch myself. And because I catch myself, I can't even start arguing for something that I know, like, okay, you messed up there. I'll just shut up and I'll see how I can course correct. But there are some lives where people already have taken a stance, they hate one gender. So no matter what you say, if you're trying to validate a point, not the gender, a point of where that person is coming from, they'll see you as a traitor. If you're trying to validate a point where this other side is coming from, they'll see you as a traitor. So I said something and I was like, that doesn't make sense. Because at the time I clocked that everything they're saying is from hate of a woman. They do have wisdom, but in spite of the wisdom, there is hate in their wisdom. That's a problem. And the people you listen to are very, very important, because whatever someone incubates within them, if someone has a spirit of division, no matter how wise they are, and they pat that wisdom on you, that wisdom of division is being placed with you. So the way you hear, the way you see things is going to have division in you. If someone has a perspective of unity, cohesiveness, and they pat wisdom on you, in how you move, you're taking that part of their essence in the way you perceive and hear things. So with me, I'm a lady. It takes a woman to teach a woman. If the woman is wise and smart, it takes a man to teach a man. I'm not going here to teach men or whatever. And if I see gaps, I just see them, I understand them, I watch, and I look the other way. That's why when a lady is getting married, you'll find women to teach that lady. That's why when a man sometimes has issues, they'll take them directly and men will talk with men. So me understanding those fundamentals, I'll usually speak to the woman. Usually. And I'll speak of the different gaps, different situations, so she knows how to carry herself regardless of what's happening around her. And to have awareness of what's happening with the other one. So instead of her starting to fight the other person of whatever they're experiencing, she understands it and she fills a cup. If they are married and they're already together, instead of starting to fight the husband, trying to fight the partner, trying to hate all gender and all men, she starts learning how to fill her own cup. She stays on her paper. That's why I say, ladies, you gotta know, I have to go and pick my daughter from the school bus. Oh, wait. For real. Hold on. There's a lot happening here. This is me not being serious. So on these lives I go to, I get too many insights, and in my mind there are things I know, like it's just common sense. But one thing I was talking about, mwachi that's me trying to read. Oh, hold on, give me a moment. Mwachelwa, is that what you mean? Run, is that what you mean? Anyway, I have to pick my daughter. But anyway, so that being said, I was on that live, but I understand it's a man talking to men, so in spite of what I said, it wasn't the place. But this is TikTok, man. If I can't misbehave here, where else can I misbehave? You have to endure me, you people. You have to endure me. So I try not to listen too much to people who have hate. And if I'm listening, I'm not listening to follow everything they're saying. I'm listening to look for my gaps in my perception, because just because someone hates the other gender or whatever doesn't mean from what they say there won't be any merit or wisdom. And also understanding whether a person is in the village, doesn't have money, has money. Everyone at one point in their life will have their point of genius. And if I can hear and listen to people regardless of where they're from, yay, I have to pick up my daughter, I can learn. Okay, people, we have to go. So okay, so in many lives I go and I see people are just talking for entertainment, but and also I understand most people have already put a flag down and they're only looking, no, I'm about to go there. They've put a flag down and I'm only about by the way, this is a problem. Let me make another confession. I just came to my dad's. If I was with a person, narikotako problem, I don't have limits. There are things that I don't have limits in, and I know myself. Even if I was working, or I'm busy, whether the child needs to eat, need whatever, I like to finish what I start, and I can go on and on and on and on and on. And knowing that, I try not to put myself in situations where, hold on, I'm looking for my shoes where they don't stay. Okay, so hold on, I'm jumping from topic to topic. Okay, hold on. Okay, let me put on my shoes. God, I hope they haven't taken the keys. Oh, they're here. Let's do this, people. Okay. Okay, so we'll be talking. Now I have to remove the Bluetooth. Okay, the Wi-Fi is gonna kick out as I drive away from the house. Whew. So there are random conversations I have here.
Listening to you when talking about your problems. He wants to make you happy. And when you express this...
Okay, hold on. Audiobook just kicked in. Okay, let's go. So I will start talking right now. I just need 3 minutes to get to the pickup location. Um, so, 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 like I said, I was having it was a random conversation on TikTok, wasn't planned or anything. What, when you say stupid people, what do you mean, or dumb people? And that's what I meant. It's like someone who, I like people who can reason. I like people who can reason. I like people who can think beyond their gender. Even if you act according to your gender, but you can think beyond it. I like people who can take responsibility. So, like, for example, let's say on the call I just gave an example of, right? We have the lady who calls this person publicly, and we are live also chanting for the drama. Chanting, and then we call this man, ready to go nuclear on him, and then we get to see, oh my gosh, the guy is actually being responsible. Now, if that lady had that sense, responsibility and accountability, she would have never made that call, because she would have told her sister, say, no, you're wrong here, blah blah blah, like, get us straight. That's why I don't believe in just supporting anyhow, just because we're siblings, or just because we're friends we have to support. No, I don't believe in that. I think you support according to merit. So if someone is neglecting their child, someone is being irresponsible, I'll read the comments. Okay, I've arrived. That's it. That was quick, right? I've arrived. And they're making dumb decisions and being irresponsible, all that good stuff. And we should support just for support. I don't believe in that. I'm incapable. I can do that for a husband. Why? He protects, provides. So he gets what's a military rule? What executive? He gets the executive say as a leader and as a provider. Yes, sometimes I can say something when I have a different opinion, yes, but I will not go back and forth with him. I understand support, but random other people, no. And if you have people who can reason and rationale beyond their gender, beyond their family, I think most problems will be sorted. So, because most people don't like accountability or responsibility, if you don't talk in line with that, they cannot stand you. There are many TikTok lives I've gone here. And the moment I see that already someone is already chose a point, they've already chosen their righteousness, either with an ideology, a thought process, or a belief system, and maybe the answers are beyond what they've chosen, I won't go back and forth, because every problem that they'll face, it might be 16 years down the line, it might be 20, it might be 5 years down the line. Those problems that comes with an ideology, a belief, or certain behaviors that come with that, I don't want to deal with them personally. So when people do stuff like that, in my perspective, it's dumb. I'm cold. Shoot. I need the heater. Oh, I'm cold. Okay. This weather has got no manners. It's very humbling. So, oh, I've got a request. Oh, I didn't see this. Okay, I didn't see the request. So I really like to look at people's reasoning. And when I speak to people, I'm hoping I'll shed light maybe on something they don't see. And when people are talking, honestly speaking, that's why I'm unable to articulate myself most of the times. I'm not thinking to have a gotcha moment or to win an argument. I'm really trying to see something beyond my thought process. I'm really trying to learn. Just the way we have books there in the shelves on Amazon and the libraries, people are libraries. They're living speech, and then wow, the Zambian in me just, live in libraries, eh? So instead of going to read a book, some people haven't written books, you can actually ask a question and you can hear their dialogue and you can learn. I take it the same principle here. So trust me, it's very tiring, it's very draining, because I'm really invested in you as a person I'm talking to. And then a person is just talking to win a point, and what they're saying is dumb, and it's not making sense. And the full I get emotional. When I come on TikTok, I get emotional. The mother in me just wants to get a whip and whip you. People who trouble me. But then I remind myself, we are all grown ups to Alafunga Makofi, so better humble myself. But anyway, stupid, dumb people are people who don't reason or who can't take accountability for things they do in their life. And they're always a victim. And anytime you want to touch to like reflect the mirror, because in a jokes aside, from a long time I've always been like this. When I have a conversation with people and they really show my blind spots, even if I argue or talk, I've listened. And I always say, I even tell my father, just because I responded or said something doesn't mean I won't go on reflecting on what you told me. I tell him this, and he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. I tell my father. Sometimes we have this, just keep quiet and just listen. I'm like, no, but I think this. No, you only want you. I'm like, no. I'm just saying what I'm thinking, but I'm still taking everything you're saying into consideration, and maybe I might not be able to understand until maybe the next 5 years. But from what you've said, this is what I think. Because I also realize very few people have wise people around them, or people who can see beyond the situation. So normally when I talk about something, I'm not talking from just what the conversation is saying. Maybe I'll see where the person is coming from. It's an ideology where they cannot solve the problem they actually have. When I say ideology, it's just an example. You have this idea that all men are evil and all men are bad, and you're married to a man, and you're not planning to leave that man, and you have this ideology in your mind, and you come on TikTok, oh, men are this, and is that daylight? Yes, it is daylight. It is. First, let me see who's asking. Jesus. Who's this? CEO of Madness. I need to check. Where are you from? Before I show. Because America, you have to be careful. Yeah, it is daylight, but I have to be careful. I don't know who this is. So, there are people who are not ambitious. It's just an example. Anytime they're talking is to validate a certain state they're in, and they're not looking to grow, and they're complaining all the time. Such people, I'll say acceptance. I'll keep on saying acceptance, because as long as you're not looking to change or whatever, you cannot fight. No, you can, but it doesn't make sense, or it's not wise fighting the state you're in if you're not looking to move away from that state of mind or state of being or state of situation. Then you should start looking at the bright side of being in that state or situation. Focus on the positives. So when a person is looking to grow and they're very ambitious, and maybe they're growing, because sometimes you find a person, maybe it's just an example, the pocket grew, the ability grew. It's just an example, by the way. But you find that their reasoning is for a reasoning of scarcity or a reasoning of poverty consciousness. And they haven't updated their mindset. They haven't updated their thinking. They haven't updated their worldview, because they're using principles from struggle, and they're not in struggle. They're trying to go in thriving, and they're in pain because they don't realize they are holding on to an ideology or promise they made to themselves for a season that they've outgrown. And they'll find maybe they're not finding a solution. Then maybe I'll speak from a different ideology, but it's going to make sense because maybe they've already walked the distance, but they didn't just have the frame and the reasoning. So I'll speak to that. that's when I chip in and say, okay, this, that, you know. I've come to understand men and women are different. Most ladies are looking for support for their wrong reasoning. Unfortunately, it pains me to say this, my brothers. I've seen some brothers are also looking for the same. But then I've come to understand men, even if they are wrong, I've come to understand when men have something they need and what they used to use or a way of being doesn't serve them, a man will change when he sees something he has or it pains him or it doesn't serve him anymore, he's seeing something better. He'll have the growth within himself. It's natural for men. For us ladies, we can have the support, everything. We just want to reason for our limitations, even if we're wrong. So because we are like that, I'll speak to the ladies a lot. Also, I'll speak to the ladies and I'll be like, no, wait, what about here? Even myself. That's why I want to hear other people, because sometimes when people say, I don't realize something about myself, like I said, I'm going to share something I said on my WhatsApp status. I don't say everything on TikTok. I say on WhatsApp. WhatsApp, my family is tired. I'm sure they'll block me soon. On WhatsApp, I said, growing up in Zambia, when I used to work for my dad, from the time I was born till the time I was 30 or 33, I never had to articulate myself. Articulation of self, speaking of self, presence of self, being able to paint yourself in the lightest possible way was not a value where I came from. And because it was not a value, it was not even needed. We were taught against it. I never had to articulate myself. So when I was working for my dad, because I think a lot, when I see there's a gap, I would just see what's needed. I would do what's needed. My dad would see what I did afterwards, even if I didn't ask. He'll see the sense in it and he'll let it be. And the company was moving just like that. And I was moving just like that. In my head, I thought it was natural that when something bothers you, you have to fix it. When you see a problem, you have to attend to it. That's what I thought. Yeah, I'm from Zambia. But I didn't know everybody didn't think like that. Remove my background noise. Heater. Oh, we called you people. Ish, it's telling me remove your background noise so people can hear you better. But ish, it's freezing out here. Snow, man, snow. Okay, let me turn off the heater. Yeah. But just saying, I'll turn it back on because let me show you what I'm dealing with. Ice. It's very cold. So I cannot be without a heater. Even if it's making noise for you, you have to endure. Yeah, you can handle the noise. Thank you, Echo Pound. So the first 30 years of my life, I never used to speak. Thank you, Three-Quarter. So because I never used to think, I still used to think. I still used to see things, and in my mind I would break it up. But I realized even simple questions. When I came to the US, I realized even basic simple questions I couldn't say. Yeah, I got distracted. I couldn't say, I couldn't speak, I couldn't articulate myself that well. And I got to experience the gap within my employ me as your bodyguard, haha. Hold on. Hello. Wait, what did? Stay warm.
On his behavior, he is quick to take.
Oh, hold on. There's a lot happening here.
See you tomorrow.
All right, see you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Oh, the water became ice in here.
When you're in the car?
Yeah.
Because it's freezing, girl. It's freezing. Okay, so I'll put the phone.
I need to use the bathroom.
Okay. I'm gonna drive. Let's go, man. Let's go.
I was so hungry at the bus, but I ate everything.
You ate everything?
Yes.
Ooh. No, the school bus drops them somewhere today. But the school buses were not working for the past 2 days after the... What did we have again?
The blizzard.
The blizzard. And even in the morning, we brought her to get picked by the school bus and it didn't come, so I had to take her to school.
What are you talking to?
Yeah, I'm live. So that happened. Let's take this here. Okay, I'm going back home, so I'll be seated and we'll be able to finish the conversation. Hold up. Yeah, so it's crazy. I wish I could show you. Oh my, look at that. Like that's crazy. Anyway, so oh, violation warning. Jesus. Hold on. Okay, I have to go. I'll come back just now.
What's a violation?
Violation is when you do something you